Good morning. Good morning. Welcome. My name is Angela. I am a front-end developer and software engineer in St. Paul, Minnesota. How's it going? I don't think we need any. I'm gonna try to not do big introductions anymore. I don't think it's necessary. Listen, we're on the tail end of the 30 days of vanilla JavaScript. This is where I went live every day during the month of April. It was the whole point of this was to just practice and get more comfortable with JavaScript. And man, oh man, did it work. I mean, I have a ways to go, but this is the most comfortable I have ever been in my entire career. I am a very UI focused front end developer, very comfortable with HTML, CSS, accessibility, search engine optimization, project planning, requirements, architecture. Like I've got it. I've got so many parts of front end development and development in general just nailed down. JavaScript is just this one thing that always kind of, I just didn't practice enough. I want to say that it eluded me, but the reality is that I just didn't put the time and effort into learning it. And the whole point of this for the month of April was to get past that and start practicing and start doing the thing that I tell people that they need to do in order to be good front-end developers, which is practice. So that's what we're here doing. Today we are on, let's see here. Today we are on days 28 and 29. So we're about a day behind, and I had something originally different planned for the last 3 days. And maybe if you are new here and you don't know this, I used ChatGPT to plan this out. So I told ChatGPT, I want to do this thing. I want to stream every day for 30 days. I want to plan 30 projects, 30 challenges, 30 things to work on. And ChatGPT did an amazing job of coming up with this list. And there was some back and forth. I combined a couple things. I took some things out. I came up with some of my own ideas just based on things that I've been asked to do in the past. Yeah. And the last three things that were planned were a little different. And I said, you know what? I want to end doing the three things that I need the most help with. And by help, I just need that I guess I just mean that I need the most practice with, which is map, sort, and filter. Whoops, there's the fingers. Map, sort, filter. I know that I need a lot more practice with them. I also really loved, like up here on day 19, so on days 18 and day 19, we did this transforming API data. That was actually my idea. I very specifically wanted to do this because I based this on, here's the local JSON file, right? Just, it's an object with keys and values. That's it. And this is based on the first thing that I ever had to build about 5 years ago at my old job. One moment. 5 years ago at my first job, I built my first Vue app, web app. I was a front-end developer at the University of St. Thomas, and this is what the API looked like, and this is what I needed it to look like in the app. And what I didn't understand then, the way I understand it now, is that frameworks really force you to do things in three distinct steps. You need to fetch, you need to transform, and you need to render. I didn't really get that until we got to this. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense to me because I originally built this in Vue. In Vanilla JS, I was going to take a completely different approach to this. I was going to for each through these things and do the transform and the render at the same time. And ChatGPT was like, actually, you really should be separating those things. That's a best practice. That's the right way to do it. And I like that approach. So I would not ever sit here and say you shouldn't ever combine transform and render. What I would say, though, is that now that I understand these steps a little more clearly, it makes sense to me why you would do that and why that seems like a good best practice. Okay, so with that in mind, I was like, you know what? I really want to end this practicing dealing with arrays. I think that's a good thing to end on. And also a good way to send myself forward into the future thinking about um, how I will design more courses for myself in order to practice, right? That's the other thing I learned doing this is that we can, especially with how powerful a tool AI is, regardless of what you use. I personally enjoy using ChatGPT. It's very powerful that we have the ability to design our own courses. So I've always said that you take a course to get introduced to an idea, you watch a tutorial to solve a specific problem, but projects are where the real learning happens. And I think especially if you're a new developer, it is very difficult to work on projects because in the real world of development, we are given tasks and requirements from our leadership teams. That's where the real learning happens. You are given a set of instructions to do something that you probably would not have thought up on your own, or it wouldn't have occurred to you to do on your own. With ChatGPT, you can say, "Hey, ChatGPT, I really need to practice map. Here's where I'm at with it. Like, here's my level of understanding," which for me is like basic, new, beginner. Help design a project. Give me some requirements. That is real world. That is IRL development. When you think about a leadership team and being given tasks, try it. So if you're having trouble coming up with ideas, ask AI to give you the ideas. Design a project for you. If you're new, say, "Hey, I'm new. I'm just trying to wrap my head around this stuff. Can you give me a set of requirements? Help design a project for me." That's really what I learned. That's one of many things that I learned doing this. And I want to suggest that you do the same for yourself if you're looking for projects. So with that in mind, I don't want to overcomplicate this today. I do want to do map and sort. We're going to use the same set of data, but this is actually the wrong one. We are going to use the same set of data, but they are going to be two distinct projects. So we're going to work on map first, and then we're going to work on sort. And then the plan for tomorrow, because God bless America, I also learned what debounce is. And it is freaking easy, or at least so far, I think it's pretty easy. I'd never even heard that word before until I started this. And now that I know what it is, I think it is brilliant. I think it's so cool. I think about this Vue course that I did on Udemy, like maybe 5-6 years ago. And the course was about querying the YouTube API, like building a search in Vue.js, querying the YouTube API to like return videos, right? It took me days to finish that course because I was using a free version of the API and I was burning through requests because every keystroke in the input burned up an API request. And I knew what was happening. I knew why I was burning through my API calls at the time, but I didn't know how to prevent that. I'd never heard the word debounce. I just knew from my own experience using the internet that you could type into a search and the results would come when you finish typing, and that there are also searches where results start to come up as you type. I knew that those were two separate things. I didn't know how to separate them or how to intentionally do one or the other. So it's almost embarrassing to admit 5 or 6 years later that I just now figured it out, although I never sought out that answer. So there's that. Okay, so my point is we're going to do a debounced search and with filter tomorrow, and we are going to use another local JSON. I don't think it's going to be this one. I'll do a new one for tomorrow. Right? We've done this twice before, and we did it with static, like just query selector all of a list. So we're going to do this with the JSON for tomorrow. So that'll be probably a little more involved. I don't want the map and the sort today to be overly complicated. I also don't want to spend all day working on it. I don't have anything else going on this afternoon other than maybe possibly a target run, but still, I don't want to be here for longer than maybe 3 hours 2.5, 3 hours, and we'll take a break in between as well. But I don't want this to be overly complicated. I want this to be about practicing and about moving me into the future. Practicing. Ideally, I would love in another month with daily practice to be like fairly comfortable with these three things. That's my goal. And by the end of 2026, I want to be able to comfortably reach for these things without a lot of trouble. But that is going to require daily practice. But I'm here for it. I'm here for it. So, are we excited? Okay, I'm excited. I want to say hello to a few people in the chat. Malik Robinson is here. Go Elmo. He is our mod in the chat. He is here every day. Bless his heart, Malik. He watches over me. He watches over you. He takes care of all of us. And I am so appreciative of that. Nano Akia is here. He says, hello, Angela from Minnesota. Osloy is also here and says, I wonder what a good project for learning scope would be. You know what? That is such a good idea. That's another thing that I really need help with. Let's make a list. Should we just make a list? Hang on one second here. Okay. Let's make a list of things that we need to work on. And by we, I mean me. So I'm going to call this to do. Angela's to do. Let's make this a little bigger. Project to practice scoping. Yeah. And then obviously we need anything for map, anything for sort, anything for filter, reduce, right? Spread operator. That's on the list for today as well. Operator. Spread operator for sure. Yeah. I know there's more, but I feel like these are the big four. Is it just me or are these the big four? Probably want to do like set, or is this a thing? New array. I already know how to do array from. I know I kind of understand this. Wait, hang on. Pretty much understand this. Not kind of. I would say pretty much understand this. Yeah. Good point, Osloy. If you think of any, you guys would know, you've been watching me every day. So if you can think of anything else that I should put on this list, let me know. Yeah. So to do, we'll call this practice projects. I'm just going to say scoping. And I feel like with scoping, it's not even just scoping, because I understand the difference between a global variable and a variable that is just limited to like the function that you're working in. But it's like scoping event listeners. Scoping. Come on. They don't all need to be capitalized. Scoping event listeners. Right? Because I do feel like I get a little confused where I'm putting my event listeners sometimes. Like I'm putting that they're getting nested like listener inside listener inside listener. What is with hoisting? I've heard that word before. I can put it on the list. Hoisting. Yeah. This is a good list. This is a good list. So I like it. Okay. Let's proceed, shall we? Let's work on, I feel like I just want to keep it simple. I just want to keep it simple. I will put this in the chat if anybody else wants to follow along. Hoisting and scoping go hand in hand. Okay. I'll put that on the list. I will make note of that as well. And hoisting is very important, but most people are missing this. So I'm going to say scoping and hoisting go hand in hand. Hoisting is important. A lot of people miss this. All right. That's good. Thank you. I like it. And we have an excellent teacher to help. I will say this about ChatGPT. It can be incredibly frustrating sometimes, but it is also very good at explaining things. Like, very good. So Dermorzi says, but hoisting is more than scoping. So I'll put hoisting is important. A lot of people miss this, but also more than scoping. Okay. And I can come back and review the chat. I don't have to take a note of every single thing probably. So, okay. We're just going to keep it simple. Okay, good. So here's our local JSON file. I'm just going to start with the basics. I'm going to start with the thing that I know how to do. Well, you know, for the most part. And function arguments and parameters, yes, I totally agree with that, are also related to scope. Seems like those concepts would be helpful for you recently. I'm going to add that as well. Function arguments and parameters, also related to scope. You guys are great. Thank you for this. Okay. Function init practice. I'm going to call this practice map. So I think, what is the assignment? The assignment is use one local JSON file with slightly raw data, fetch local JSON, use map to create a cleaner display array, then render cards. Okay, so we have no markup for this, which is completely fine. That is an area that I do pretty well in, so let's just do a div with a class of map cards. Because at this point, I have no idea literally have no idea what classes I've used and not used anymore. I have lost track. So this will be like our container. And then I'm going to loosely sketch out what it is that we would render. So we have, first of all, how many items do we have? Okay, we have 8. That's not too bad. So I'm not going to worry about pagination or load more or anything like that. So we've got a title. I will combine the title and the ID. We've got a category, a difficulty, a duration, and whether or not it's featured. So let's do something like article with a class of article. We'll do a title, which would be like an H3. Tertiary, tertiary heading. Maybe on one line. Oh, and we'll do something like this. Category, difficulty. And then we'll do paragraph tags. I'll do a span. And I'm just going to say that this would be the category. Maybe something like that. Maybe something like that. And then duration. Duration, something like that. And then featured would be, we would just say something like featured, and I'll style this. I have an idea of how I'm going to style this. So this would appear if it's true. I feel like, yeah. So I have an idea of how I would style this. Okay, so I'm going to take this. And put this here as a reference. And then our root will just be map cards. Let's do an underscore. We'll scope it to that. All right. And yeah, so I guess we just want to, well, technically we would do, this is part of the render, right? So I think we have to do, yeah, we have to do 3 separate, technically this is part of the render. Okay. I have to look. I'm going to look because I don't have it memorized. So here's our transforming data. So first we need to do our fetch. Would you hold it against me if I just copied this part? So this is going to be fetch what is it? I'm going to call this the shared data. Fetch shared data. And this is actually going to be shared map sort. Pretty sure that's what I called it. shared map sort.json. And then this is going to be our transform data function. Transformed goes here. And then this is where we are actually, and then this would take in an argument of data. And then this would be, so I'm actually going to change this to render UI. Render, we can call this render the map UI. This would also take in data. And then this would be where we actually initialize everything. Oh, and this is async. If there's no data, return. Then we have our transform data. Which is this. And then we render the UI with the transform data. And if this is right, we should just be able to console log the data here, right? Whoops. There we go. Look at that. So I think fetch our local JSON, store the original data. So use map to create a new array with display friendly values. Modal dialog capitalized. So we're going to remove, I don't think I would do the capitalization with JavaScript though. I would do that with CSS. I would just replace the slash or the dash. This looks complicated. Render the mapped array, console log both original data and mapped data. So here's our original data, and then we'll console log the mapped data. So we did the fetch, the JSON. Okay, let's take a look at map. I roughly know how to do this. So the current element being processed in the array, the index of the current element being processed in the array the map was called upon. So I feel like data map item do I need something else here? Like that? And then the item, don't I just say what the new things are for the array? So, where's my... So the title would still be the title, but I have to change it. I have to replace it first. So do I do title, replace all? Do I do this? So the title is the title, but first I replace those with that. I mean, I'm not getting any errors in the console. Or I mean, I'm not getting errors in VS Code. VS Code is happy to let me know when I'm doing things wrong. Oh, it also has to be capitalized. Can you capitalize with JavaScript? I wouldn't do that with JavaScript. JavaScript, capitalize first letter of each word. Oh, what's this? Oh, this looks kind of handy. Okay, string, optional, ensure other letters are lowercase, split the string into an array of words, and then map each word, and then join. So we're mapping the capitalization first. So I think I wouldn't do split though. I think I would do, well, I would do split, but I would split by the dashes. So should I do this first and then join? Then I can take capitalized and make title equal to capitalized. Right? So Osler is saying you can, but if you could do it in CSS, I would, except you're trying to learn split, map, and join, so maybe it's a good exercise. Yeah, this is the balance that I'm trying to find. I feel like I am definitely an experienced enough front-end developer to know that if you can do it with CSS, you should do it with CSS. But also, this is not a bad thing to practice. Okay, so here's my executive decision. We are going to do the capitalization with CSS, but I think what we have to do is we have to be able to do this camel case on the JavaScript. Is there anything else here that needs? Well, here's the thing with category. So the category is either going to be JavaScript, CSS, or HTML. So maybe when it comes to everything else, we do it with CSS, which is really just the title, right? And then maybe with the category specifically, if it's, I think maybe for the category specifically, because CSS and HTML would be uppercase, they wouldn't even be capitalized. Because in CSS, it just capitalized means it capitalizes the first letter of each word. For HTML and CSS, it would be uppercase. Those are all uppercase. But for category, we need to, I feel like we could do character at. So this would be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. I think I would do this. Capitalize the first character, append the rest. I would prefer to do this just for the camel case of JavaScript. So let's do this, but let's modify it to be camel case. And then we don't need to do, I don't think we need to do this. And I don't think we need to do this. I think we would just do this. This would be character at 4, 2 uppercase. And I don't think we would need this, and I don't think we would need this. Osler says, I generally leave everything lowercase always all the time unless it's being displayed to humans. Right. Those things are all going to be displayed to humans though, right? These are going to be displayed to humans. The category CSS. And also this was part of, I think this is part of the, right here. Use map to create a new array with display friendly values. Right here. Do we even need to like completely map everything? Can't we just do this? Word, character at, if JavaScript. We could actually do, well, we just need to do this, yeah, for JavaScript. And we can call it camel case. That's what I'm going to do. So let's do the rest of these first, and then we'll do just that one. So we've got category is category difficulty is difficulty. Oh, and it's item dot title, item dot category, item dot difficulty. And then our duration, I'm going to call it time, just to be different, I guess. It's going to be item dot duration, not commas. And so I feel like, can this be this? And then that would be minutes. So 45 is 45 minutes. Oh, we need to make sure that the ID is there. So we'll replace the dashes with an empty space. We'll get the category as is. No, we'll get the difficulty as is, but for category, we need to, we'll call it camel case. Okay, so this is yeah, we'll call it camel case. And I'm going to follow this. So capitalized is going to equal, oh, what is it going to equal? Do I have to, wait, do I have to do that inside of this first? So can I do, am I allowed to do things inside map? Item dot category. I don't know if I'm allowed to do this. I just want to do this. If word equals JavaScript, do that. But it's 4. So it's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah? So then, does this become, wait, do I have to do this? Can I just do this? I feel like this should work. I feel really good about this. And then I have to return the data, right? So can I console log my new data? Wouldn't it be amazing if this worked? I feel like that would be so cool. No, okay. Item category map is not a function. I feel like I should be allowed to do this. Oh, maybe we have to have, okay, so hang on. So maybe instead of this, we do that. And then, but instead of word, maybe we say, we just call it something different. Does it really make sense? Category. I have no idea. No, of course that didn't work. Okay. Don't tell me. Don't tell me. The whole point of this is for me to figure it out. Nobody's like trying to tell me anything. So, do I have to do them? If I do separate maps, can I use the value? Well, yeah, I can because you gave it a value. So of course you can. Okay. Let's Control Z our way out of this. So maybe we do this instead. And then I have to, do I have to return word? Return word. Does that mean then that I can use this? But I would think I would call it something else. Not that that matters. Console log the data. Return data. So probably want to say something like else. Well, no, you don't have to do anything. If word equals JavaScript, word character at for to uppercase return word. So if it's not JavaScript, will it just do it without doing anything else? It'll still get the, will it still get the thing? I feel like I probably have to do this. I don't know. Nope. Item is not defined. Oh. Camel case. This would just be string, capitalized string map. Probably word if word dot category nothing is getting console logged, so okay. Okay. What am I doing wrong? Hang on. Don't tell me. Don't tell me. Oh, but I'm not really. So it wouldn't appear that I can do a map inside of a map, and I accept that. Unless I just did it wrong. Let's see if I can just figure out this first. Okay. That's what I want. I want the original one there. Okay. Good. But it didn't do the thing that I asked it to do. Am I spelling category correctly? Yes. Am I spelling JavaScript correctly? Yes. feel like I just did the exact same thing. Yeah, I just did the exact same thing. So I do need the word category JavaScript. Okay. So I think I can combine these. Why isn't this working? Okay. Oh, I'm console logging before I did the thing. Oh my gosh. Okay, I get it. I'm doing this too early. Okay. Yeah. No, it's still not, oh, do I just need to do it? Hang on, scoping. No, why is it not capitalizing the S? Oh, um, okay. Hang on. I'm going to do this here instead. Okay, so we're capitalizing just the S, not the whole word. Okay, got it. So I do have to do some of this other stuff then. So capitalize just that character. Append the rest of the word. Join the words back into a single string. Wow, this is complicated. This is complicated, but this is so good. Okay. So I can see now why I would want to do this. Oh, I'm glad we're only doing this in one spot because this would be really hard. Okay. So then what if I do, I'm just curious to see what happens then when I console log that. What am I getting? Okay. So I am getting everything, but I still haven't done the thing that I need to do. So what am I returning? Clearly, I'm not returning anything that's actually been done. True? Just true? Yes? No? What am I returning? Word? Just word? Okay, let's look at the documentation. Okay. So here's where the documentation just doesn't really help me that much. So because everything's on one line and Okay, what do you return? Lots of counting, lots of math. Okay. I might need help with just this because I'm not sure what do I return? Just data? Yeah, no, you don't just return data. I have no idea what I return here. Do I don't return that. See, I don't this is the thing that just doesn't make sense to me. I'm like, what? Yeah, I knew that wasn't right. I feel like it's supposed to be word. It's not just word, is it? No. See, I should be at least able to return all the letters, right? The capitalized letter. Okay, I am going to have to ask for help with this part because I just don't understand it. So I know that this is getting Yeah, I know that that's not right. Okay, don't give me people are putting code in the chat. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Welcome. I'm happy to have you. Um this is me trying to learn. So, that's specifically what this is. It's me learning. So, um and it's a little bit of a struggle session because that's how you learn. So, what's the I think I have two things that I need to solve here. I think I have three things that I need to solve here. I need to capitalize the S, which I'm doing. So let's do that first. Let's actually get this word camel cased first. Well, we need to actually capitalize the first letter and the S, right? So it's not really camel case. It's the first letter, so we need to do both. Which means that we probably need to split at those specific. Well, we need to split at index 4. Let's just get the word working first, and then I'll figure out the other stuff. Split the string into an array of words. So can I split by index? I think I can. It is a string. Yes. So let's do that first. So I think we only need to split here first. So let's do word, category, split. So this would get, so it's split, but it's an empty string. And then it would be this 4. I think we could do this instead. But we would maybe also still want to do this for the first letter. What would I call this? And then what do I even have here? Okay, so I'm getting the first character. Oh, this would be okay, J and S. Why isn't 2 uppercase working? Oh, because it's, yeah, duh. Oh, okay. Let's do this instead. So we split the word. Yeah, this is going to have to be its own thing. Okay, let's just call this second character, because that's really what it is, right? Oops. Okay, we've got a capital J and a capital S. One moment. Okay. So now I've got my capitalized letters. Now how do I join all that stuff back together now? Word slice. Append the rest of the word. What does slice mean? Oh yeah, we did, I think we did slice when we did the pagination and load more. Okay, so we're slicing. So if this says to slice 1, that's the second word after it was split. See, this makes me feel like we should go back to just this. Well, that's what we did though. How do I get the words back together? Okay, so no, we did this. We split all the characters in every single word. well, in JavaScript. Then we got the S and we capitalized it. Now I got to put them all back together. See, this is just words. I'm dealing with letters. Oh, join. And then join words back into a single string. And so this is after the map. And this doesn't return anything. Probably because it's defined, right? So can I just do join? And then, am I just getting camel case? I mean, I joined something. Okay, so all I did was join those letters. How do I join the word? So I must have to split. Okay. I have to, I feel like the better strategy is to split the word in half and then just do 2 uppercase, but this only gives back the actual letter. It doesn't just do uppercase to the word. Okay. So can't I just split the word in half and not split every single letter? That's what I really want to do. Let's go back to split. Okay, I'm just going to Google it. JavaScript split word apart by letter, by index, position. Okay. Oh, substring. Got it. Splitting a string at index 4. First part, text, substring. I think this is what I want. And then I don't have to map anything. I can just text, substring, 0 to index. Second part, text, substring, index. Got it. Okay, here's the slice method. Oh, slice, yeah, that's what we did with I know I've just said this, the pagination and the load more. You get the first and the index. Actually, this makes more sense, I think. That kind of makes more sense to me. So we'll do first part, second part. First equals word category, slice, 0 to 4. No, it would be 0 to 3. No, it would be 0 to 4 because 4 doesn't include, right? Yeah, 0 to 4. Second category, slice, And it would just be 4. And then everything that comes after it. JavaScript. Okay. Can't I just do first I want both of them to be capitalized and then joined. Char at 0. Why doesn't that work? It only gives the letter though. That's what's frustrating. Why yeah, so this isn't going to work. Cuz I don't know how to clearly I can either split the words or capitalize the words. Can't seem to do both. Okay. I'm going to look at the chat because I know that people are putting in the chat what I should do. Let's see. The code guy says just do word category character at 0 to uppercase. First character of word will be capitalized. And then the code guy realized I was also making script. Store the word in a variable and return. Let capitalized word equal word category character at 0 to uppercase return capitalized word. See my message. The code is determining what the capitalized version of the letter at index 4 is, and that's it. It's not saving the result anywhere. Getting closer. That anonymous function does return. It just doesn't have the keyword return. It's a special shorthand syntax. Okay. If it is not better for words like JavaScript to use a lookup, if it is not better for words like JavaScript to use a lookup map like JavaScript, HTML. I mean, another thing you could do is just return the string literal JavaScript. Oh, there's that. I know that ChatGPT wants me to solve this problem. I want to keep going. So hopefully this isn't too frustrating for you. It's definitely a little bit frustrating, and I think it's super interesting, and I would like to solve this problem. So if it's okay with you, I'm just going to I'm gonna keep going, I think. So wait a second. What is it that I just do? There's some other stuff here. So we sliced the words. What was it? What was in here? So I'm going to try this. So I think the code guy had a good suggestion here. Let cap let cap first word equal turn cap first word. Let cap second word equal return cap second word. Cap first word, cap second word. So this was a suggestion from, okay, not quite. See, character at only wants to return the character, doesn't want to give me back the entire word. Okay, let's I can't believe I have to ask this question. JavaScript. Capitalize first letter of, well, this is, let's see what this says. Oh, this is the exact same thing that okay. This is a version of what we already had. So we split. Maybe that's it. Maybe you do have to split everything and then you capitalize the specific character. The problem is that I have two characters. Maybe it doesn't, maybe that doesn't. See, this is capitalizing the first letter of each word. See, I think I have to split the word. Do I just need to do this? I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna keep going. I'm having fun. No, I'm not having fun anymore. So I have to ask for help with this because I'm not quite sure what to do. So we're gonna ask for help. That's okay. You gotta learn somehow, right? Okay, let me pull up the conversation. Yeah, this is for capitalizing words separated by a space. Your problem is much harder. You have words right next to each other. There's no generic way to do this. So I think we're ready to ask for help. And because I do think this is interesting and I would like to know how to do it. Okay, I need some help. I need JavaScript to be camel case, I guess, but I'm not sure how to proceed. You're you're overthinking this one. You don't need to split. I love that that was the first sentence. That I'm overthinking this one. That's so funny. Okay. You don't need to split characters or manually grab index 4. What you actually, oh my gosh, it's going to say to just okay, I'm not even, before I even scroll down, I think it's going to say what somebody in the chat already said, which is just make it equal a string. Yeah, look at that. Okay. I was so sure. Oh, wow. This is so funny. Oh, okay. This is good. Even cleaner, recommended. Use a lookup object. Labels. How else do you learn if you don't know, right? Okay. Yeah. Not every string problem needs to be solved algorithmically. Algorithmically. Just map the value to what you want. Okay. This is so funny. So we don't need any of this. We don't need any of that, do we? Yeah, let's just go back. Hey, how else do you learn, right? How else do you learn the right way to do it? Yeah, I would suggest using an object too, but I was under the impression you hadn't learned them yet. Can I just do this? I'm just going to do this. I guess this is a separate mapped function. And then you, so, or I guess maybe this is, so I didn't make this, I mean, do I have to do this? Does everything have to be equal to something? So this is saying make this a variable and then put everything inside of a return statement. That's the right way to do that? See, it's giving me things that I'm just like I'm not exactly there's I feel like there's 5 million ways to do the same thing and it gives me a different way to do it every time. So we can do this. But here's what so here I'm just going to ask it about this. Okay. Totally fair. And that makes sense. Why does it need to be written like this? Here's how I was writing it. Okay, this is a really good question. You're right at the edge of understanding map properly. The issue isn't syntax, it's what map expects you to return. What map actually does, it takes each item, you return a new version of that item, it builds a new array. So the key rule is you must return something for each item. What your version is doing, problems. These lines don't do anything. Okay. That's not creating an object. That's just a label like in a switch statement. JavaScript ignores it. You're returning the wrong thing. You're returning the entire original array, not the transformed one. So map becomes data, data, data. What map needs? You need to return a new object for each item. That's why this works. Okay? Why the brackets matter. Return means create a new object. Without return, nothing is created. About this line you asked about, category, labels, item category, or item category. That just means if labels item category exists, use it, else use the original. Same as let category equals item category if labels item category. Okay, clean version of your function. So you return this, and then this is the mapped data. So do I reuse map anyplace else? I'm just confused. I don't understand that. If it's defined as mapped, do I use it anyplace else? Your version was thinking do something to each item, but map is return a new version of each item. Okay. Okay, that makes sense. Does mapped get used somewhere else? Why does that need to be defined? Great question. This is the question that makes map click. Yes, map is what you actually use next. If you don't use it, map is basically pointless. So data is the original array. Map creates a new array. Mapped is that new array. Why define mapped? Because now you have data, the original, and mapped transformed. Okay. All right. One moment. Let's see here. So Dermorzy says, the thing is that you do unnecessary operations when you could do it algorithmically, and this costs time, so you will never use it in real projects. I don't know what that means. I don't know specifically what you mean by that, but Osloy responded to that and said, there is no algorithmic solution to the problem. The map solution you provided earlier is actually the best. I will let you all have that conversation amongst yourself until I get comfortable enough to understand what that means. So, and then Ray is here and says, hello. I just want to ask, did you make that 30 days challenge, or is it everyone's challenge? I did make the challenge. So I made the challenge using ChatGPT. I wanted to practice JavaScript every day for 30 days. So I asked ChatGPT to help me come up with problems and solutions and projects. And most of these are things that ChatGPT suggested. A few of these things are things that I specifically wanted to do. And that's how I came up with it. So this is for everybody to follow. If you want to try and solve these problems on your own, you're welcome to do so. I put in my own solutions and my own markup, but you could do this any way you want to. I think you could even do this in any programming language that you want to. It's just for practice. I also think that you could just go to ChatGPT and tell it what you want to practice or what you want to get better at. And it's really good at giving you requirements, right? That's the real world of web development, is that you get requirements and tasks from your boss or your leadership team. And it's your job to go off and figure out how to do those things. So that's why I think that this is such a great use of AI. And um, clearly for learning, ChatGPT can give you the projects and help you understand things when you get stuck. So, okay, so let's go back up here. And we'll just do this. So these will be the labels. So Dermozy, okay, so I think I understand Dermozy's point right now. Um, Says Osloy, that is not right. You can implement a compound word detector that gives you back an array of indexes for starting letters. Yeah, I'm gonna let you guys chat amongst yourselves. So gotta learn somehow, right? So there's our labels. Take that out. Take that out. All right. Yeah, this, I guess this makes sense. Oh, I didn't hang on. I didn't get that in there correctly. So for category, it would be or item category. All right. Well, here's our mapped data. And then we can use CSS to capitalize difficulty and title. Okay. All right. Well, there's our mapped data. Well, it's going to be a long day. It's okay though. I'm here for it. I didn't think this was going to be this hard, but you got to start somewhere. And this does make sense to me. So, and did we do the title right? Yep, we did the title right. I at least got that part right. Okay. This does make sense to me, the way this is working. I know that Dermozy would like me to do this algorithmic rate. I understand now what you mean by that. I am going to go with this for now. If we know that there's a finite level of values here, I think this would be perfectly acceptable for the real world of programming. I think about data that gets spit back into an API from like maybe a Salesforce or something like that. What am I thinking of? Even from a content management system where you have a finite level of options. So I could see that that would work that way. Yeah, I'm gonna actually, any other changes that I do for capitalization or uppercase, I'm gonna do that all with CSS. So this is the only thing that I really wanted to do. Well, I guess all of these things we could technically do with CSS. We could just change this and do everything else with CSS. But if we're going to do this, we might as well do this. That's how I see it. So, okay. Let's do the render part now. So we console logged the before and the after. This is the data. So are we getting... See, here's what I don't understand. What am I getting here? Undefined. Okay, so this equals mapped, but where am I using mapped again? So if I returned mapped, but didn't I do this in the... So here's our transform. Should still be able to see data here. What am I missing? Oh. Okay, shouldn't I be able to see the data in the render function? I think I'm supposed to be able to. Okay. I don't understand where I see the new mapped data. Oh, I didn't actually return mapped. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought that's why we had this big thing here that said return. So I still have to do this? Oh, after. Got it. Okay. I'm getting there. Now we've got our data right here. Just to be on the safe side. Mapped. There it is. We got it. Okay. All right, so I'm going to take this out. So we console log, this is the original. I'm going to put this in here because that was part of the assignment. Original data. And then this is the mapped data. Original mapped. That was part of the assignment. Store the original data, render the mapped, console log both original data and mapped data. Okay. Done. Okay, now we render. Thank God. The thing I actually know how to do. So, data for each item. Okay. Stick with me. Boy, if this is how hard this one's going to be, we still have another one of these to do. So, first we're going to create an article, an H3, a set of paragraph tags. I kind of want to let's shift this around a little bit. Let's just put everything inside of paragraph tags. Let's shift this around a little bit. Do these need to be in spans? I don't even think those need to be in spans. I think we can just do this. Yeah, I think this is just fine. Okay. So we'll create an article. Whoops. Create element, article, and then we'll get an H3. And then we have like 4 paragraph tags, but that's fine. So we'll get a category. difficulty, duration, and featured. Whoops. All right. And then we'll give this a class. Whoops. Article. And then I'll give this a class tertiary heading. And I don't think anything else needs a class. Does anything else need an ARIA label, a type? I don't think so. We don't even have a link. And then we can just do our H3 text content. We'll put in the ID. Which we know is going to be item ID. I think that's what we called it, right? ID and title. And then our category. Will just be category. I guess we don't need that. Item category. Difficulty. Item difficulty. Duration. Item duration. And featured is well, the value of featured is either true or false. So this would actually be if featured, then so this would actually be if item featured. So if this is true, then featured equals, it's just going to be a string. It's just going to be a string. Yeah. So if this is true, then we go ahead and show it. And okay, let me see here. Oh, text content. What did I do? Category. Oh, whoops. Text content. There we go. Oh, what was I checking? I was checking to see if this is... Oh, did I forget to put featured in? I did. I forgot to put featured in. Featured is item dot featured. undefined. So it's supposed to be a Boolean. What's the original? Oh, is featured. Item is featured. There we go. Perfect. Okay, and then we want and then we're just going to append all of these things inside the article. Article, append the H3, the category, the difficulty, the duration, and then oh, do we want to do this here, or do we want to, because if it's false and I append it, is there going to be an error? Even if there isn't an error, do I want it to be and then we also need our root. The articles. This we have to do inside the loop. Yeah, I think I need to deal with this differently. Oh, maybe it's okay. Let's look at our markup. Here's our cards. Yeah, we actually don't want to. Did I get that wrong? Difficulty. Oh, time. Did I get time wrong? Yes, I did. This is time. What did I do wrong? The item time. Hang on. Duration. This is backwards. Okay. So this. So we need to make sure so is it better to do this? Oops. Else this. That feels like a better way to do that. So if it's featured, is there, because we don't want an empty, yeah, I think that's better. Yeah, I think that's better. Okay. Took a little time to get here, didn't it? So we're actually coming up on 2 hours. I think we should take a break. Then we're going to style these cards. That is not going to take me that long. And then we are going to go to the next thing. And here's the thing. We may not finish the sort today, but if we could at least get things sorted. So let's read this real quick. Maybe the next couple of days are going to be longish. That's fine. It's not the end of the world. So fetch local JSON, render cards, then sort them with buttons or a select menu requirements. So we want to do A to Z, Z to A, and then shortest duration. And we're using the same this. So we've got this duration. We have done the sort before, right? We did the sort on it was the sortable table. So I feel like we should be able to look at this code in the sortable table and get some good hints. But honestly, if we need help, we're just going to ask for help. I feel like day 16, the sortable table was my first real crash out. Yeah, which I felt pretty bad about, and I'm over that because sometimes you just need help. So, but honestly, I also think that what I did today, trying so many different ways to split that word and capitalize JavaScript, that's the best way to learn that, to find out that you're overthinking something. So, and okay. So appreciate all the comments in the chat. I just want to make sure that people know that even though some comments I try your suggestions, some comments I don't. I just appreciate everybody's comments. So just figuring it out as I go, right? Malik does say, yep, the learning process is full of ups and downs. Just being told what to do and how to fix it does not help the process. So let's take a break and come back in 10 minutes. We will finish styling these cards, which I can do that pretty quickly. I have an idea of how I want those to look. And then let's get started on sort. We'll see how sort goes. Maybe we'll do the first part today and we'll do the second part tomorrow. And you know what? It takes as long as it takes, but we are going to be finished by tomorrow. I can tell you this. So let's get our egg timer. I like this one because she's basic. So Osloy has to go. Thanks for hanging out, Osloy. And yeah, come back in 10 minutes and we will continue. Sorry, I thought I did unmute. Didn't fully click that button. Luckily, I didn't say anything important. What I'm curious about is why does this also need to be wrapped in a return and map need to be returned? I just want to understand that. Why two returns? Great question. And this is exactly where map finally clicks. Okay, well, speak for yourself. There are two different levels happening, so there are two returns. Inside map, what should this one item become? Outside map, what should this function return? So map loops the data. This runs once per item. The inner return, each time you're saying turn this item into this new object. So map builds new item 1, new item 2, new item 3. Map finishes. Now mapped is your new array. The outer return. This says give that new array back to whoever called this function. What happened? Okay. Remove the outer return. You get undefined. Okay. So this is why I find these one lines confusing. Because there are no words in here that say return. So that's why, how would I ever know from looking at something like this that there's an inner and an outer return? So I'm sorry, I'd have to continue this conversation because it's confusing. I think it's difficult to wrap my head around. Okay, so looking at the MDN docs and a lot of one-line maps, I don't see inner and outer returns. How does how would I know that? How would I know that by looking at something like this from MDN, from an MDN example? So it looks like no return anywhere, but what's actually happening is that this is shorthand for return. So there's still an inner return, it's just implicit. So the arrow is like return this thing. Okay. One-liner implicit return automatically returns the value. Block body explicit return required. Okay. Important gotcha. You're about to hit this. This will break. Because curly braces now means a block, not an object. Okay, I understand that. How to fix object returns. Okay. Option 2, clean shorthand. Wrap the object in parentheses. So an extra set. Okay. Oh, okay. Got it. I guess. Why parentheses work? They tell JavaScript this is an expression, not a block. Okay, so that's a good explanation, but also the takeaway is that I think this is just really hard. And honestly, there are so many of you out there that already understand this and you do it really well and it makes sense. And I really admire you. I really, really do, because I find this to be just really difficult and confusing. It's so different from everything else that I do. So, loop for each, no problem. Got it. This stuff, it's complicated. CSS, accessibility, search engine optimization, requirements gathering, easy peasy. This stuff, really hard. Really hard. So, okay, let's keep going. Let's just style our stuff and move on to the next thing. Shall we? Yes. All right. So here's our article. I don't think we need to do anything particularly fancy here. So map cards is our parent. All right. Do we even need this anymore? I don't think so. All right. Transform with map. All right, we have map cards. And we'll just do display grid. Grid template columns. Repeat 3. And we'll give these a gap of 1 rem. Article. Give everything some padding. Whoops. 0.5 rems. Let's give everything a border. 1 pixel, solid, white. Let's give it a little more padding. And then our map cards, paragraphs, update the margin here, 0, 0, 0.5 on the bottom. You know what we could have done? Oh, you know what we should? Let's go back to our JavaScript. Let's do... Let's, yeah, I do actually want to, so we'll say category. Difficulty. Oops. And then I actually want to give this last paragraph a class, because we're going to absolutely position that. Class list, add, give it a class of featured. There we go. And then let's make this position relative. And then let's make sure that our map cards featured is going to be position absolute. Bottom 0. Left 0. Width 100%. I'm going to give this a background color of white. And this is a navy blue, so we'll give it color dark navy. And then we need to give it enough room. We also need to change the padding here. So we'll do 1 rem on top, 1 rem on the left and right, 0 rems on, it's got, that actually doesn't matter. Actually it does matter. We have to add more padding on the bottom anyways to make up for that. We're gonna adjust that. This needs margin 0. But it does need a little bit of padding inside, 0.5 rems. There we go. And then we just need to put a little more padding on the bottom here to account for that absolutely positioned. That's perfect. 3.25 rems on the bottom. That will perfectly account for that. Does it need to be absolutely positioned though, if it's always the last item? It would make it easier to be full width. So I say we might as well. And then this does need, I'm going to say 0.5 on the top and bottom. 1 rem on the left and right. There we go. Oh, we have to fix this. 3.25. There we go. So if it's featured, and then we'll text align center that. There we go. And then, we still have to capitalize some of these things. How could I forget? The main attraction. Let's see here. Let's make this all uppercase. And give it a little bit of letter spacing. There we go. And then we want, I'm just going to say all of the paragraph tags would be text transform capitalize, but this one comes after. It's more specific, so that should be fine. So this, I think we could just do text transform capitalize. There we go. Perfect. And then how do we want to deal with our H3? Map cards. Tertiary heading. Let's make the font size a little bit bigger. Maybe 2 rems? That's probably way too big. It is. 1.5 rems. I want the font weight to be 400, not bold. And I want the margin to be 0, 0, 0.5 rems on the bottom. We'll see how that looks. We also need this to be capitalized. And then this is a block level element, so let's maybe just put like a nice little border underneath there. So let's try this, 0.5 margin, 0.5 rems, oops, and then border bottom, 2 pixels, solid. Make this light blue. Ooh, this isn't quite right. You know, well, what are the options for text transform? Let's check. Capitalize, full width, lowercase, uppercase. I don't even know what some of these things are. Maybe we just want these to be uppercase. Yeah, let's just do uppercase. That kind of gets us out of a bind with a few of these things, right? We'll do that. And then I saw one other thing that we should do here, which is, let's just put like a dot. Or we could do like this. There. How does that look? Those are our cards. And then let's just make sure. I'm going to make this a 2 pixel border. There we go. And we could even do this, something not quite so dark. Could do that. I kind of like that. And then let's make sure that this is responsive. I think we need that. Don't need that, and we'll just do this. That's pretty squishy. Let's add another media query here. So let's do 1200. And then let's do maybe 960. Yeah. I like it. right, so on to the next task. So we're actually going to use the same set of data for the next task, and I'm not going to I think we should use the same classes, but maybe these aren't the best classes. So maybe instead of map cards, we could just say transform cards instead. Let's do that. So let's just update this real quick, and then we can use the same classes and we shouldn't have to do any styling. So we'll just say transform cards. And then that will make it easier. And then we have to update that here. Okay, that'll make our next, then we won't have to style the next thing at all. It'll get the same styles. Okay. Transform with map and sort. All right. On to the next thing. So we know that we're going to need this again on our next page, which is day 29. So we'll put that there. This is old, we don't need that. All right, are we ready? We probably want to we're going to have buttons, right? So here's transform data with API. So do we want to have buttons or do we want to have a drop down, a select? I'm partial to buttons. So that means that we're going to scope to this. So we'll see transform sort. So with map, we scoped to this, but now we're going to scope to this. It might have been a better strategy to do that, but maybe it doesn't matter. Okay, we can move on. So here's our sort. I don't know, I kind of want to have this open. I don't know why though. Well, we don't need to type this all out again, right? I think for the sake of moving things along, so this will be transform data. And then again, we'll console log the original data here. And then we'll render sort UI. And then this would be, we would be console logging the sorted data, which is still the original data for now. can also put in what our root is going to be. Which is this. All right. And then we have this. Probably want to, I guess we can reuse this, right? All right. Okay. Now what do I do? So I really want to go back and look at the sorted table, because I feel like when we worked on the sorted table, I don't think I had the same clarity. Yeah. Everything happened in the sorted table inside this for each. It wasn't the distinction of transforming really any data. Although, do we still need to transform the data? Because if we're sorting it, presumably we transformed it first. Because I feel like the sorting is happening in the render stage, right? Because you have to render it and then you click on those buttons and then you re-render it, right? Let's read this. Okay. Requirements: fetch the local JSON, render all items. Yeah, there really isn't a transform step here, is there? Add sort controls: A to Z, Z to A, shortest duration, longest duration. Use sort to reorder a copied array. Re-render sorted results. So the JavaScript focus is sort, locale compare, numeric sorting, copying an array before sorting, and then re-rendering. So would I, okay, so if I have, if I am sorting something 4 ways, is it that I define it 4 ways and then on click, yeah, I feel like that's, so copying arrays before sorting. So if I clicked a button, I would return this. So my data isn't called projects, it's called data. And this is the spread operator, which represents the array, right? Let's look at this. So the spread operator is just a way of saying the spread syntax allows an iterable, such as an array or string, to be expanded in places where 0 or more arguments for function calls or elements for array literals are expected. Yeah, okay, so I'm coming to another conclusion, which is that the documentation for CSS and HTML and accessibility is far easier to understand than it is for JavaScript. For JavaScript, it's like, to me, it just feels very overly complex. Okay. And Dermorzi is asking, why question mark? Why what? I don't know what you're asking. Okay. So am I supposed to do something? So can I do, I'm just curious. I'm just trying to understand here. Console log. So is this a thing? Sorted. Undefined. Okay, so this does return the array right here. Okay, so this is literally just another way of saying array. Why is JS more complicated? Well, how the hell would I know? Is that a real question? How would I know why it's more complicated? I don't know. Okay. So we know, I guess I get the gist of this. It's exactly the same thing. Okay. So can I just do this? So sorted is literally the first way of doing it. It says to do it like this. Sorted data sorted. So this would maybe be sorted AZ because that's the default way, right? And then we have sorted ZA data sort probably the better way to look at this is just sortable table. So you sort, got it, from A to B. Sort from A to B. So you can return multiple things. So this is what we learned from sorting the tables, right? See, this is all on one line, which I don't understand yet. So, okay. People are putting it in the chat. Basic example of sort and so A to Z would be this, and then A, okay. So this is not sorted, it's just sort. A, B, you have to return it. There. I feel like I just do these, right? I just define what each of these things are. And then on click, I can make each of these happen. Kind of makes me feel like there isn't a specific, you do the render step, and then if you click the button, you do these various things, right? So I'm not sure I need this, but let me at least do this. Sorted. Well, let's just start with alphabetical. Let's just start with alphabetical, but I don't think I need this. I think I'm just supposed to render this, and then based on the buttons that you click, you do the sort. Right? So why do I need to Did I spell that wrong? So Dermorzi says, I find that JavaScript is much more forgiving than other languages. Yeah, that kind of implies that I have a grasp of other languages, right? Well, I don't know what that means. Okay, so I kind of think that I actually don't need to do any of this transform stuff. Because I feel like the sorting all happens inside the render. So, but also we could copy over this so we get the thing. Honestly, we could copy all of this over, couldn't we? And then we could sort, add buttons, and sort what we already have. Should we do that? Yeah, let's do it. And then we only have to worry about the sort. And then everything is styled. To hell with it. Okay. So here all of our stuff has been rendered, right? Let's add some buttons. We'll do that here. So we'll say button. Let's give this a class of button. And then this will be A to Z. And then this can be Z to A. And then this can be high to low. And then this can be low to high when we figure it out. And we obviously need to, we're not going to worry about styles right now. We'll figure that part out. And here's our buttons. Okay. So this would probably all happen inside the for each, the sorting, right? So it would be a button for each. Add event listener, and then we would do this. But don't we need to but this render all happens on page load. It's just based on what button it is. So, okay, so we'll get the buttons. So there's our buttons. And we'll for each through the buttons. Let's do this. I feel like this can be its own function, right? I have no idea. Yeah, honestly, I'm not sure. This felt so simple when I was scoping it out. I was like, oh yeah, no problem. So for each button, but you have to have, it has to render on page load, which is fine. It just happens for the first button, right? Because if we look at the sortable table, the entire render step well, no. Append the rows by sort order. So that all happens. Oh, it does happen inside the event listener. But how does it render if a button hasn't been clicked? Oh, is it? Well, it's because the table's in the markup. We didn't create the markup. That's why. The markup lives on the HTML page. It didn't get created. So for us, we just need to make sure that we're doing this on page load. So it's kind of like it's like the render step has to come before the transform step. So that makes me feel like there is a transform step, but we used it to do this mapping instead. Can I do both? Do I do another one that is just for sorting? Do we have one like a transform just for mapping and then one for sorting? Am I overthinking this entire thing? So fetch the local JSON, render all items, then add the sort controls. Okay, so I think that it's, so we render everything. So I'm going to take this and put it down at the bottom. So we render everything, right? Then, when we click on a button, so I think I'm overthinking this. I'm going to try to simplify it. So if button equals what? If the button equals what? Button. If button text content equals A to Z, then take the data and sort it, right? Well, let's see if this even works. I think this will work. Console log A to Z. else if button text content equals z to a console log z to a. Else if button text content equals low to high high to low. Okay, so I think that if I click on a button, I should just be able to sort what has already been rendered. I should just be able to sort the data based on what button I'm clicking on. What do we think about this theory? Okay. Oh, there's no click event yet. Class button inside transfer. Oh, hang on. Transform. What is it? What did I call it? Transform sort. I have a different route. That's why. I screwed up my styles, but I don't really care about that. Transform sort. Transform sort. So I also need to do const. What is this? Cards. And this is actually cards. There we go. Oh, I think this is no spaces. Hallelujah. Okay, so I think I'm onto something. So now, so really, this is the default, but we do still need to put it in here, right? So that makes me think that this would be, well, it says to use the spread up. So copying arrays before sorting. Copying arrays before sorting. So am I doing this the way ChatGPT intended me to do this based on this? I'm not sure. But basically, this is the default sort right here, right? The on-page load, render the items. Well, the default sort, no. They're just being rendered in the order that they appear in the API. Most of the time, the APIs will be alphabetical, but not every time. Could be anything, right? What is it? It's absolutely not in alphabetical order. Okay, so that's good to know. So that means, okay, so based on what we learned about map, where you have an inner return and an outer return, this to me looks like the implicit return is here. The explicit return is that you have to say return sorted. So if this is the default sort, although this is probably being sorted based on the ID, how does it know? How does it know what to do it based on? We have to tell it the title, right? And we would, do we need it on page load to be sorted alphabetically? Do we care, or do we just want to get it working? Okay, so if we do this, but really this is data, and then this would be A, B, that's the implicit return. A locale compare B, but we have to tell it title, right? Don't we have to say A? I'm not sure. And then return sorted. But I think I'm going to get an error there. No. Yeah. So I think I'm really close. I think I'm close. But this obviously doesn't look right. So let's do it the old-fashioned way. Yeah, let's do it the old-fashioned way, where you just Google the thing that you're trying to do. Okay. The code snippet provided is a common and robust pattern for sorting an array of strings in JavaScript without mutating the original data. All right, I found a common, robust way to do things. So data uses the spread operator to create a shallow copy of the original data array. This is crucial because the sort method mutates the array in place. Sort AB, return implicit locale A, locale compare B uses string prototype locale compare as the comparison function. It returns a negative number if A comes before B, a positive number if it comes after, or 0 if they are equal. Unlike the default sort behavior, which uses UTF-16 code units, locale compare is locale aware, meaning it correctly handles accents. Okay. So this says to sorted. Okay, so let's do this. Is not a function. Okay, so to resolve this, ensure the values are converted to strings before comparing. Oh, so the string is it's the title, right? So is it A title, B title? Wait, did that work? I don't think so. Are we ready to ask for help yet? Is it data title? Well, no, because these all get sorted, right? Yeah. Title. But do I need to do an additional render step? Is it sorting? It's just not doing a render step. Is that why? Is it just not re-rendering? It did sort it. Okay, it sorted it. We just have to re-render it. Okay, I feel like we're onto something here. So then, is it... Okay. What does this say? Re-render sorted results. So re-render the sorted results. I feel like this would just be a function. Hang on, I think function render sorted results. And can I reuse the word data? And then I would just do this. Do I do it before or after? Okay. But this would be data because it still has to render on page load, right? Does this have to come before the return? I feel like I am so incredibly close here. Okay. We have to remove it. Look, it rendered the sorted results. Look at, oh my gosh. Okay. But first I have to replace them, re-render. So I got to remove that stuff and do these. So do I had to remove something first. So when do I do that? Can I just do that once per button click? I don't want to remove. I think, can't I just do maybe the articles? Do we just query selector all the articles and then just remove them here? That's okay. Well, that's what I'm going to do. So articles, we can do that now, right? Root, query selector all, articles, whoops, articles, wait, article, yep. And then right here, for each button, we just say articles for each article. Article, remove. Remove, re-render. I don't know, I feel really good about this. And we'll update our styles here so it looks a little easier to understand. What? Am I understanding this? Stop it. So this does need to come before the return. I mean, like, I get it, but I don't get it. Okay, let's keep going. I feel like this makes sense. Okay. This is exciting. Okay, I don't like our styles. Hang on, but maybe we just need to zoom out a little bit. There we go. Okay, this is going to make this a lot easier to look at. And we'll update these styles to go with the pink background. Okay, there we go. Wow, this is so cool. Okay, let's keep going. I kind of understand this. I mean, I'm glad that I had this conversation now with ChatGPT about the return statements and the implicit versus explicit. I don't 100% understand why we need the spread operator. What is the point of that? Why couldn't I just say data sort? Why does that matter? That I don't understand. Okay, let's keep going. I feel like at this point now, this is self-explanatory. I don't think we need all these console logs. I don't even think we need that. Although we could put that, we could leave that in. I feel like we can just copy this. So now this is going to be this way. And then this would be based on not the ID, but the duration. So this was based on, what was this based on? Shortest duration, longest duration. So for this, this might not work because now this is a string. But let's try it and see what happens. So maybe we want in our map, maybe we need to add. Maybe we need to add something here. So we've got time. Let's also do duration. We're not rendering that, but we need that information, right? So let's make sure that we also have the duration because we want the number, not the string duration. So now we've got both. Yep. And that's going to make that sort a lot easier. It's almost like this is starting to make sense. Okay. Duration. So this was ascending. And then we can do this. This would be descending. Let's see here. Okay, let's see what's happening. It doesn't like this for duration, but it's fine. Okay, probably because locale compares for strings, not for numbers. Oh yeah, okay. Wait, we dealt with this here too. So this is just for strings. We have to do this for numbers, right? Yeah. So this is going to be A duration, and this is going to be B duration. And then we just flip-flop it. This would be B duration, and this would be A duration. Look at that. Low to high. Oh, high to low. Interesting. So that did not. So this is just adding. Okay. Details. Minor details. So do I need to why are these? Shouldn't this be removing all those things? Oh, is it because I removed? I need to make a copy. Is this right? Is that the point of that? No. Don't tell me. Don't tell me I got this far. Dermorzy says, I see also no reason for a copy of data. This is only a thing in frameworks. Have you cleared the old rendered elements? I mean, yeah. I mean, right here, it's the first thing in the event listener to remove those articles. So I know this is working. I just need to. We're so close. This is 100 times further than I thought I was going to get today on this. So. Do we need to do this every single time? So here's the event listener. Here's the if statement. We can't just do this last. No. Do we... Is it... Do you just return the whole thing? Oh, I feel like it didn't like that. Or... I feel like this isn't working. Do you know you can sort on the HTML elements itself? Okay. all of these things are named the same thing. Do I have to give these different names? This is a detail. I feel like we have the right, I feel like we're pretty close. So I feel like there's just a small detail here that I'm missing. So if we know that the A to Z works. Well, we know that A to Z works probably because we do the render on page load, and then we click the button. So we click the button, we removed those items, and then we replace them. So this makes me feel like we have to, maybe these variables need to be named differently. So this would be sorted ZA. This would be sorted, I'm not sure. Low, high. And then maybe this would be sorted high, low. Yeah. I don't know why on click these aren't getting removed. Is there something wrong with my elements? Why on click aren't they getting removed? Oh, yeah. Okay, that's a good one. Thank you. Yeah. Whoops. Hmm. Oh, I bet we don't even, do we even need this? Okay. So we're pretty close. We're gonna we're going to ask for help. So I think it's fine to ask for help. So please remove the return. No need for this. So you don't have to return here. Okay. It's okay. Where are we here? Okay. I'm so close. My articles are appending, not removing, then re-rendering. Can you please show me what I missed? Please don't do a, hang on, please don't do a major refactor or tell me things that don't directly fix the issue I'm having. Just one thing at a time, please. Thanks. Okay, you're removing a stale node list that only captures the articles that existed at the time that line ran. After you re-render, the new articles are not in that list. Simplest fix, clear the cards container inside render sorted results before the loop. Then remove this whole section from the button click. That's it. Render function clears, then renders fresh. So just do this. Just empty out that cards. It didn't have any problem with anything I was doing here. So we're still appending though. Oh, well, I guess I don't need this. Not that it matters. Oh, inside. Hang on. Inside. Got it. So before we do all of this, then we clear this. Clear the articles before re-render. Render the articles. Now we're working. You know what? I'll take it. I'll take it. So these only require an implicit return. Okay, so re-render the sorted articles. Okay. So I would like I would like ChatGPT to explain the implicit and explicit return of these sorted lists. This, by the way, this does make so much more sense to me having done this, having a button that sort this. So this makes the most sense that this has ever made to me. So for that, I'm incredibly grateful. Okay. It worked. The earlier convo about implicit and explicit returns really helped. But does that conversation also apply to sort? Here's my final code. I'm pleased that I figured this out. Is it terrible? Please be gentle. Not terrible. This is solid, readable, and the data flow makes sense. So we did the fetch, map, transform, render, sort, copy, re-render. I'm pleased with myself that I understood, that I was able to put the pieces together to see that the sort is after the render. So here is our implicit return, which is like the inner return. Well, I guess, is it explicit if it says it's returned? I think I understand this now. The callback returns the new value for each item with sort. The callback returns a number that tells JavaScript how to handle two items. Negative, A comes before B. Positive, B comes before A. 0, keep the same order. So your one line sorts are using implicit returns. Got it? Which is the same as this. The best thing you did here is this. Yeah, I need some deeper level of understanding of that. Oh, that avoids mutating your transformed source array. Excellent. Well, you told me to do it. Only tiny note, if no button text matches, sorted would be undefined, but with your known buttons, that's fine. For later, data sort AZ would be a cleaner than relying on text content, but this is good for this project. Okay. Help me understand this more. This is where I'm a little fuzzy. Me understand this more. I'm a little fuzzy on the spread operator. Okay, so sorted equals data sort. There are two separate things happening. Spread operator data, make a shallow copy of the array, and then sort that copied array. Oh, so we're not sorting the original. So when we do this as a spread operator, we're sorting a copy, shallow copy, but not the original array. Why you need the spread? Because sort mutates the array. Got it. Without the spread, now data equals sorted, which is true. You just changed your original array. With spread, sorted equals spread data, spread operator, or shallow copy of the data sort. Data does not equal sorted. Data is the original unchanged. Sorted is the new sorted version. What this actually does, if the data is ABC and then a copy of the data is the same as copy equals ABC, but created dynamically from the original array. So data CAB, copy CAB, new array, sort CABC. Got it? The original data still says CAB. Important nuance. This is advanced but useful. This is a shallow copy, meaning it's a new array, but it has the same objects inside. So the first index of copy and the first index of data is true. Totally fine for your use case. Why this matters in your project. You're doing render sorted results data. Then later, sorted equals a copy and then sorted. That means every sort starts from the original. Every sort starts from the same original order. Your buttons don't stack weirdly. What would happen without spread? Click A to Z sorted, Z to A sorting already sorted data. Now your behavior depends on previous clicks. Spread. Clone the array so I can safely modify it. Okay, well that is a good explanation. And Demorzi says that the spread operator data is the same as new array data. Because I guess I did know that that was considered like shorthand. Is that the right way to refer to it? All right. Wow. I'm very pleased with myself that I figured this out. I mean, we needed a little help to get there, but overall, I am pleased with myself that I got this figured out. Let's take this out. We don't think we need this anymore. I like it. This was a very simple solution. We did this in another spot too, where we had to clear something. Yeah, so that makes sense. I completely forgot about that. Wow, these were two really good ones. I for sure I need to keep practicing this. I for sure need to keep practicing this. I love this. It's complex, but it's very satisfying. So there's that. Okay. Well, I'm going to, we can go ahead. I'll do a commit now. Days 28 and 29 are done. Wow, very satisfying. It's hard, but I really enjoy it. I do enjoy it. In this case, it is shorthand. Okay. And Malik says, great work. Thank you, Malik. Thank you for being here. All right, so here's what I'm going to work on before tomorrow. I'll clean up some of these styles myself. We don't need to do that here. I'll make sure that these code blocks get added to both pages. And then I'm about halfway down with the requirements for tomorrow, debounce search with filter. And we've done that twice now. We weren't using like local JSON, but we were using just a query selector all. One moment here, we'll wrap this up. Yeah, this was complicated, but it was also super fun. I enjoyed it. We were live today for almost 4 hours. I think it was totally worth it. Yeah, I really liked it. So thank you to everybody who hung out with me in the chat. Dermorzi was here. Lots and lots of help from you. Really appreciate it. Who else was here? Osley was here. The code guy was here. Nano Akia was here. Let's see. I want to make sure I didn't miss anybody. Terry Murray was here. Friend from Toronto. Yeah, I don't think I missed anybody. Come back tomorrow and we're going to finish the final day, day 30, debounced search with filter. I'll finish those requirements today. I'll have ChatGPT give me another local JSON file and it's going to be really fun. I'm pretty sure. Do me a favor if you haven't yet. Would you be so kind as to like the video, subscribe if you're new here. I'm generally here 4 days a week, Saturday, Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, right around 10:30-ish a.m. Central Standard Time. I think after tomorrow, I am going to take this weekend off. I have things that I want to get done around the house. I've been on a spring cleaning, decluttering kick the last few months. So it's a spring cleaning that actually started back in November, just decluttering and simplifying my life. And I thought I would like to take a weekend off, but what will I do with myself? Well, I will be taking things to Goodwill, putting things on eBay. You guys, if you had seen the amount of fiber, yarn, and art supplies and just crap that I've sold on eBay the last several months, you would be shocked. And I have a whole nother pile of things to go through. I have a big pile of things to sort out and bring to the Goodwill. And I set a goal to be decluttered by July 1st, and I'm well on my way. So that's what I'm going to spend my weekend doing, and I think it'll be time well spent. But yeah, come back tomorrow, and we will finish up the final day of the 30 days of vanilla JavaScript. Can you believe we made it this far? I cannot. I only had one day where I seriously considered not scheduling a stream and just not showing up. I only had one day, and I pulled through. And I got it done. So very pleased. Thanks for hanging out. I love all of you guys. Have a great rest of your day wherever you are. And I will see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.